I've been using Helium Mobile for 5 months and it only costs $20 a month and you can get months for free. But is it too good to be true? We're going to dive into my 5-month review, almost 6 months. We will go through all of that, my experience with it, how well it works, whether it lives up to its promises on today's Frugal BC. So if you guys like this content, you wouldn't mind hitting that like and subscribe button. Remember, you don't have to smash it. You can just press it gently. It works just fine that way too. Because this is not an Algorand video, I will say very briefly, we are sponsored by Non-Fungible Domains. You can go check them out, plus all our other crypto recommendations in the description below. But I want to get to Helium Mobile because I've been using it for 5 months. And when I first came across it, I thought $20 a month for pretty good mobile service. That can't be right, is it? Well, it turns out it's been pretty good. There was a little hiccup and I will talk about that, but overall I've been really happy with it. So let's kind of break down my experience. So to start off with, Helium Mobile is basically, it's $20 a month, ends up being 21 and some change with tax. And you get unlimited talk and text, plus you get supposedly 30 gigabytes of data, and then it throttles after that. I've never even gotten close to using that much data, so basically it's been free data for me. I upgraded to Helium because I had been using Ting, which was another similar service where it's operating on other people's networks, and Ting ended its service. We're still grandfathered in, but they weren't offering new subscribers or anything like that. And I thought that was probably a good sign that they were going to end it soon. I don't know if they have or not, but I definitely got off. So back in June, middle of June, I joined Helium. And I have to say the setup was terrible. So I kind of talked about this in the first video I did before I had actually had a chance to really use it. Just talking about the setup. It was a real nightmare. They didn't really explain to you whether you could do eSIM or whether you had to get the physical SIM card. And it turned out I couldn't. And then I suddenly found myself in the middle of this transitioning to the service without cell service for like a week while I waited for the physical SIM card. And then every step of the way seemed like it didn't function very well. The only way I got it to work was going through customer service and having them help me set it up. And then it worked. But what I will say is after that, it has worked great. So actually, we'll talk about that right now. The service was pretty much ran perfectly, exactly as you would hope. There's definitely some spots where data isn't available, and I kind of wish it was, especially when I go north of where I am. It's in a somewhat more rural area. The data is a little spotty, but it was with my other service too, so I can't really complain. And it's actually worked better than Ting in that regard. So I don't know if a better cell service. I see other people do have data where I don't, so that is potentially a problem to keep in mind. Now, one of the cool things is that you can turn on the mapping program to help map their network, and so I've been doing that, and I will tell you, I went back and looked through my bills just to be sure. Of these 6 payments, including the next one that's coming up in November, I have only paid for 2 months. The entire rest of the time, I've been able to use mobile tokens to pay for my service. And that is crazy good. So really, this thing has cost me like $40 over like what'll be basically 6 months of service, since the November one will cover into December. And I just prepaid for that one. So basically the way it works is you turn on the mapping, and then when you're walking around, it will do mapping in the background. It will keep track of these hexes. You have to map 40 hexes in a day. I will tell you, usually after my first walk, it's done. And I go through several walks a day, so it's not even close to an issue. But I don't think I've had a single day where I've ever missed it. I went back and looked, even on a day when I was, like yesterday, like Sunday, I was in the car all day. I barely walked around. Got up for one little short walk in the morning, a really short one, but it was raining all day, and I still hit my hexes, so that's fine. That gives you mobile tokens, and then once a week you can claim the mobile tokens for free on the Solana network, which is what this is built on. Now, if you know about Solana, you know that a lot of times, a lot of the transactions fail on Solana, and this has been an issue with this platform to a small degree, to be fair. So sometimes I will go to claim my tokens, and the transaction will fail. And when it does that, I've noticed it'll do that over and over. So it doesn't really pay to like try again and again. If it fails, usually I just wait a day and the next day it'll work fine. Now, these mobile tokens, you can use those to pay for your bill. I think it was about 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, they changed the structure of it. And when they did that, they removed the monthly option, so you could only pay for the whole year. And you get a pretty good discount. I think it's like $200 some dollars, $220 maybe for the whole year, which is actually quite a bit less So you're actually saving, I think you get like a month free basically, if you pay a month, or if you pay a year ahead of time. But you would need all that mobile to do it. So you're probably not going to do that unless you saved up your mobile for a really long time and paid in the interim. But they now added, I just checked today, they added a weekly option back into it, which is what they said they were going to do. I was actually a little skeptical that they would, because a lot of times this is a way of kind of weaning off something that wasn't working very well. And I'm thinking like, how long can they do this? Which is still a concern I'm going to get to in a minute. But actually, yeah, they added that back in. So I was wrong about that. And I was able to prepay my next month with mobile token. So again, over 6 payments now, I've only 2 of them have been real dollars. The rest has all been this mobile token that I got for free anyway. So basically I've had almost free cell service this entire 5 months, which is crazy. And over into December, that'll be 6 months. That'll be two actual payments of $21. Everything else was free. So that's pretty remarkable. And I was skeptical of that. I thought that just sounds too good to be true, but so far it's actually been paying off. Now, a couple of downsides I'm going to mention. One, I don't know how long that mobile pay is going to work. That seems too good to be true. So far it's been working, and I think it will keep working for a while, but I feel like there's going to come a point where it's too good for them. They're just not making enough money doing this. That's my thoughts. Maybe a lot of people don't mess around with the mobile thing. That's a possibility. So maybe some people just forget and they don't want to do it. So they just ignore it and they just pay the $20 a month. Even if you took that out though, $20 a month for like pretty good cell service is awesome. And I live in not the most urban area, so if it works for me, I think it's going to work for most people. Now, if you're out in the middle of like woods, like maybe it's not the best service. I guess you'd have to try it out. And one thing I wanted to add too is I read somebody's post about how they were trying to port out of Helium and they were having a lot of trouble doing it. And in that interim, they didn't have cell service at all, which is what happened to me when I was setting it up. Because since I needed to wait for the SIM card to come, I had no cell service whatsoever while I waited because the number had already started porting. So until I completed that, I didn't have cell phone. So I didn't have a cell phone for like about a week. So like I said, the setup was, really troublesome. Be really careful. I would just go for the physical SIM unless you have like a really new phone that's capable of eSIM. And you can do some research and find out. I really think that's something that Helium should put right in the app itself, where it tests your phone and tells you, yeah, this is eSIM compatible, this isn't. I based on what I read, it sounded like I could use it. Turned out I couldn't. And if I'd known that earlier on, I would have saved myself a lot of headaches. I would have just waited for the SIM card to come. So I recommend most people, unless you have the brandest newest phone, I'd probably go with that, or look up to be sure, or even contact customer service and say, hey, is this phone eSIM compatible? If not, just get the physical SIM card. It works a lot easier. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's been working really, really well. I've been very happy with it, much to my surprise. Honestly, I thought it sounded too good to be true. I thought this was going to be one of those experiments where you try it out and you're like, ooh, here's the downside, here's the catch. So far, there hasn't been a catch. Like I said, the only thing was that little glitch first the setup. The setup was horrible, and I hope they fix the UI on that for sure. Definitely need to fix the setup process in the beginning. And then there was that time period where it didn't look like, I just assumed that they were going to be done with doing monthly mobile pays, and that they were going to switch to a year, pay a year in advance and you get a little bit of discount. So I was pleasantly surprised. They added it back in, and now you can pay monthly with mobile as well, or you can pay yearly as well. It's not really well explained because it says USDC, but when you go to the actual payment, you'll see the option to. Well, it actually will do it. It did it automatically, where it just had on Solana network and it had mobile as the token. So then it converts it automatically, and it'll tell you what you're paying there. So. Yeah, if you guys use Helium, let me know what you think down in the description below. This was actually recommended by Caleb Hammer, who has a personal finance channel and has not been like super pro crypto. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to try it out, because I thought, well, if he's recommending it, maybe there's something to it. I'm always skeptical, especially when something sounds too good to be true, which this really is, but it's been working really well. I've been pleasantly surprised. So again, I want to hear your experience. Let me know in the description down below. Like and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. And otherwise, stay safe out there. Not your keys, not your crypto. I'm Frugal BC, and I will see you in the future.